The Ruha hit us on Columbus Day. Every country had a name for the day the Ruha attacked. The common name that stuck after a while was Columbus Day. I guess that makes sense. There we were, innocently drifting along in the cosmos on our little blue marble like the Native Americans in 1492. Over the horizon come ships of a technologically advanced, aggressive culture, and bam! There go the good old days, when we humans only got killed by each other. So, Columbus Day. It fits. When the morning sky twinkled, with what we later learned were Ruha ships jumping into high orbit, we were curious. When power plants, refineries, factories, and other industrial sites around the planet started getting pounded from orbit with hypersonic railgun darts, we were shocked. For me personally, when a Ruha combat transport dropped out of the sky and skidded across a potato field outside my tiny hometown in northern Maine, that was when I became officially alarmed. It was a Monday morning in early October, the Columbus Day holiday in America. I was home on leave from the Army, visiting my folks, taking a break after my battalion got rotated home from peacekeeping duty in Nigeria. What a shit job that was. I was happy to be home in the States. My leave was ended by a burning streak across the sky as the Ruha transport came directly over my truck. It arced over the lake and crashed in the Olafson's potato field, plowing up dirt and potatoes until its nose was half submerged in a pond. It wobbled side to side for a minute, with a screaming sound coming from its engines. Then it took off and flew low and unsteadily over the tree line toward the center of town, trailing smoke from its underside. Our supposed allies, the Kristang, think that Ruha assault transport was damaged during the drop from orbit and fell short of its intended target, since that is the only possible reason the Ruha would have invaded Thompson Corners, Maine. Hell, I didn't want to be there anymore. That's why I joined the Army in the first place. My hometown is nice enough, it's simply nothing special. There's potatoes and cattle and sheep and other farming, of course. And some people, like my dad, had jobs at the big paper mill down in Milliconic. You could get by with some lumbering, working as a hunting or fishing guide, a little welding on the side, whatever. Nobody in northern Maine relies on one job. Anyway, Thompson Corners is not the sort of vital strategic target that military planners would think of when deciding where to drop from orbit a combat transport with a dozen or so heavily armed troops. The Ruha troops, cute and furry bewhiskered bastards that they are, no doubt waited until their transport finally skidded to a stop on the front lawn of the elementary school in the middle of town, popped the door open, gazed in awe at the magnificent vista of Thompson Corners, and asked the pilot where the hell they were. Soldiers are soldiers, whether they have fur, skin, or scales, so logically, the Ruha lobbed a missile at the most imposing structure in the area, the potato warehouse, and took it out in impressive fashion. I mean, they blew the hell out of it. Those soldiers must have had something against potatoes. Next, they destroyed the two bridges across the Scannicut River, the railroad bridge and the old concrete highway bridge that's been there since it was built by FDR's Works Progress Administration in the 1930s. We'd had a lot of rain, and the river was running high, so with the bridge out, the only way for me to get into town was to drive all the way to Woodford and cross the river there. Like the old New England joke, you can't get there from here, right? Nice idea, if the roads hadn't been clogged with panicked traffic and 100 other people didn't have the same idea I had at the same time. And when I saw that assault ship coming in, trailing smoke behind it and headed for the center of Thompson Corners, I was already in my parents' pickup truck on my way into town to pick up my sister from a friend's house. It was 10 minutes after the first sights got hit. The radio said the governor had just declared a state of emergency, urged everyone to remain calm. Then all communications went out. No radio, no cell phones, no TV, no electricity. I didn't need to wait for instructions. I was going to pick up my kid sister, get back home, and hunker down with my family until I figured out what the hell was happening. Behind the seat was my father's bird-hunting shotgun and a box of shells that were good for quail and not much else. Shows how clearly I was thinking that morning. All my Army gear, including my rifle, were back at Fort Drum in New York State. I was, after all, on leave. Coming over the hill, I saw the ruins of the bridges and nearly crashed into a line of traffic that was trying to get into town like I was. Bill Geary, a volunteer firefighter and a retired captain from the Maine National Guard, was getting people organized to drive over to Woodford and come into Thompson Corners using the old fire road. I, like a dumbass, shouted that my truck had four-wheel drive. Almost everybody in northern Maine has four-wheel drive, even if it's only a beat-up old Subaru. Since I was last in line, I got turned around first, and three guys whose car had gone in a ditch jumped in my truck. We roared off like the cavalry coming to the rescue in a movie. By the time we fought through